Welcome to our Shi'ur, Rambam on the Perasha. This week, we read Parshat Korach. And right at the beginning of the Perasha, God instructs Moshe and Aharon to prepare for a showdown to determine which tribe God has chosen to lead the Jewish people. Every tribal leader turned in a staff, including Aharon, representing the tribe of Levi and Kohen. Moshe placed all the staffs in the Ohel Moed. The next morning, a miracle happened. The staff of Aharon blossomed. It brought forth ripened almonds. As the Pasuk says, Vehinei parach mate Aharon lebeit Levi. And behold, the staff of Aharon from the tribe of Levi blossomed. Vayotze perach, vayatzet tzitz. It blossomed with a flower, a twig, vayigmol shekedim, and ripened almonds, indicating that indeed it was the tribe of Aharon that was chosen to lead the Jewish people. This is another example of the critical role miracles played for the Jewish people in the desert. In fact, Moshe Rabbeinu relied on these miracles to succeed as a leader. In this week's Shi'ur, I want to highlight a machloket, a dispute between Rambam and others, such as Rabbi Yehuda Levi in the Kuzari and Ramban, on the role of miracles. I want, to the best of my ability, explain Rambam's attitude towards miracles, and how does the miracle I just read about and so many other miracles we read about in the Torah fit into Rambam's general approach. Our starting point will be Rambam's well-known comments on miracles found in Hilchot Yesodei Torah, chapter 8, Halacha 1. Rambam says as follows: Moshe Rabbeinu lo ha'eminu bo Yisrael mipnei ha'otot she'asa. Moshe Rabbeinu was believed by the Jewish people not because of the miracles he performed. Shehama'amin al pi ha'otot yesh belibo dofi. Anyone whose religious faith is based on miracles will always doubt, says Rambam. She'efshar sheyaseh ha'ot belat ve'chishuf. Because it's always possible to claim that the miracle was done with sleight of hand or with chishuf, magic. This position, which I will explain further in a moment, is different from that of Ramban and Rabbi Yehuda Halevi, who argue that miracles were actually a critical part of Moshe Rabbeinu's leadership style, and they were meant to leave an overwhelming impression on the collective consciousness of the Jewish people of that generation. The miracles for Ramban and Halevi were meant to motivate the people to believe in Hashem and transmit that belief to future generations. Ramban states clearly, experiencing God through miracles is the pinnacle of religious experience. And the only reason why we don't have so many miracles is because they limit human free will. Ramban further argues that in the Messianic era, there will be countless miracles. Miracles will occur openly all the time. The Messianic era will be a kind of olam haba. Whoever merits it will enjoy sublime divine experiences at every moment. This approach is the furthest from Rambam's truth and his teachings. For starters, the Messianic era, according to Rambam, will not be a sideshow of miracles. Rambam writes in the last chapter of the Shmoneh Prakim, at the end of Hilchot Melachim, Al Ya'aleh Al Halev, one should not assume שביימות המשיח ייבטל דבר ממנהגו של עולם. That in the era of Mashiach, in the Messianic age, anything will change in the world. Or the laws of nature, or the laws of physics will change. Ella olam keminhago noheg. Rather, the world will continue as it always has. Famous line, olam keminhago noheg. V'zeh she'amar b'Yishaya, and that which is stated in Yeshayahu, v'gar ze'ev in keves v'namer in gedi yirbatz, that the fox will live with the lamb and the leopard with the kid. Mashal v'chida. That is a mashal. Allow me to explain Rambam's position on miracles. For Rambam, the highest level to which a person can aspire is to serve Hashem through love. I want to read to you from Hilchot Yesodei Torah, chapter 2, where Rambam discusses the mitzvah of loving Hashem. Ha'el hanichbad ve'anora hazeh mitzvah le'ahovo u'liraoto. This great and awesome God, we are commanded to love and to be in awe of. Ve'heach hi haderech ahavato v'yirato. And what is that path? What is that way to loving God and being in awe of God? Rambam says, "B'sha'a she'itbonen ha'adam b'ma'asav uvru'av hanifleim hagedolim." When one contemplates on God's actions, on God's wonderful and wondrous creations, ve'ireh mehem chochmato she'en la erech v'loketz, and realizes and recognizes that God's creations and wonders are wise and are infinitely wise. Miyad hu ohev u'mishabeach u'mifa'er u'mit'aveh ta'avat gdola ila Hashem HaGadol. Immediately, instinctively, one is moved to love, to praise, to recognize, and to yearn, a deep and profound yearning to know Hashem. And he quotes the beautiful pasuk in Tehillim, Tzam'a nafshi le'Elohim. I thirst, my soul thirsts for God. So how is this love achieved? Through contemplation of God's wonders and creations. A person's ultimate purpose is to develop the intellect and comprehend divine truths to the best of one's ability, and thus earn Olam Haba. Miracles may engender a momentary sense of awe or wonder, but these impressions are temporal and are limited to the emotions and do not in any way engage the intellect in pursuit of knowing Hashem. Avraham Avinu, Rambam tells us, came to know Hashem not through miracles, but through comprehension and knowledge. I want to read to you how Rambam describes Avraham Avinu coming to know God at the beginning of Hilchot Avodah Zarah, the first chapter. Halacha Aleph and Bet, Rambam gives us a history of theology, how initially mankind knew God, but slowly distanced themselves from God by creating intermediaries, the sun, the moon, and other such things. Kevan shenigmal eitan zeh, Rambam says, when this giant, he refers to Avraham Avinu as a giant, when this giant was weaned, hitchil leshotet bedato, he began to wonder in his mind. Vehu katan, he was a child. Veitchil lachshov bayom ubalayla, he began thinking day and night. Vehaya tamea, and he was questioning. He'ach efshar sheyah galgal hazeh noheg tamid velo yelo manhig. How is it possible that this universe exists continuously without a manhig, a leader, one to guide it? Umi sabeboto, who operates the universe. Lefi she'yifshar she'isabeb etzmo, it's impossible that the universe operates without one to operate it. Velo hayalo melamed, velo modia davar. Avraham Avinu did not have a teacher or anyone to guide him. Ela mushka be'or kazdim. Rather, he was in the depths of Or Kazdim, bein ovdei avodah zarah tipshim, amongst foolish idol worshippers. Ve'avi ve'imo ve'chol ha'am ovdei avodah zarah ve'hu oved imahem. And his own parents were idol worshippers, and he was amongst them. Ve'libo mishotet umevin. His heart began to question and understand. Ad shehisig derech ha'emet ve'hevin kav hatzedek, until he comprehended the correct path and he understood the righteous approach, mitvunato hanechona, based on his own conclusions. Veyada sheyesham elo echad v'hu manhig hagalgal. He recognized that there is one God who operates the universe. V'hu bara kol, he created everything. And nothing exists other than this God. He recognized the entire world was mistaken. Abraham Avinu recognized God at age 40. Maybe that's when Abraham had his first nevuah. Al Bnei Ur Kazdim. Once he had that recognition, understanding, he began to teach people in Ur Kazdim. He was challenged. Kevan shegavar alehem berayotav, when he started having an edge over people that were challenging him, and he was challenging. Bikesh hamelech lehorgo, the king of Ur Kazdim wanted to kill Avraham Avinu. V'na'asa lo nes v'yatza lecharan, and a miracle occurred to Avraham, and he went off to Haran. V'yitchil la'amod v'likro b'kol gadol lechol ha'olam u'logeh she'esham elo echad lechol ha'olam v'lo ra'oi la'avod, and that's where he began to spread his message that there is one God, and only one God deserves to be worshipped. Notice how Avraham Avinu is the subject of all the active verbs in this passage. He contemplated, he pondered, he wondered, he searched, he grasped, understood, realized, recognized, refuted, argued, broke the idols, convinced, emigrated, proclaimed, traveled, taught, etc. Even the reference to the famous midrash that Nimrod threw Abraham into the pit of fire. Na'asa lo nes, a miracle was done to him. The miracle was secondary in terms of Abraham's religious experience. Abraham Avinu discovered Hashem on his own, without dramatic miracles. God did not choose Abraham. Abraham Avinu found God and chose Hashem through contemplation. And that is why we are referred to as the children of Avraham Avinu. That is why for generations after Abraham, we are believing Jews. For Rambam, proof of God's existence is based on the predictability of the universe and the laws of nature. Nothing reflects divine will more powerfully, says Rambam, than the laws of physics and nature. Man emulates those laws by being rational and seeing the world through rational lenses. I want to read to you a passage from Igeret Teiman of the Rambam. I read it to you in English. Our effort, and similarly the effort of the small number of wise men, is the exact opposite of that of the masses. the unreflective masses of the various religious communities find nothing in their foolishness which is more attractive and more satisfying than to conceive religion and reason as polar opposites in which contradict each other. They account for all the phenomena in a way that goes contrary to reason and affirm that whatever occurs is a miracle. In this way, they move as far away as possible from conceiving events as occurring within the order of nature, whether they be past events about which we have been told, or events that are predicted to take place in the future. We, on the other hand, make every effort to unite religious teaching and reason. To the fullest extent possible, we account for all events in the context of the order of nature. Only in those cases when we are taught explicitly that a particular event is a miracle and there is absolutely no possibility of giving any other account of it, only then do we feel forced to admit that it is a miracle. We see in this text how Rambam always gave priority to the rational and the natural. We do not appeal to the supernatural or to the irrational unless we have reached a point of no other options. Miracles are a disruption of the laws of nature. They are a nullification of the perceived order of divine laws. Miracles, by definition, cannot be understood by people and are therefore useless. They are necessary at certain times, as Rambam writes in Hilchot Yesodei Torah, Ella kol ha'otot she'asa Moshe b'midbar, all the miracles that Moshe Rabbeinu did in the desert, lefi hatzorech asa'am. He did it because it required the time required them. Velo lehavi ra'aya al hanevuah. But they were not made in order to bring a proof or to justify himself. He required the miracles, but they were not the ideal. And when God does perform miracles, God will never change the character of a person. I want to read to you from the Moreh Nevuchim, chapter 32 in section 2. God will not change the nature of people in any way by means of miracles. We do not ascertain this because we believe that it would be cumbersome for Hashem to change the nature of a particular individual. This is feasible and within Hashem's power, but because He, Hashem, never willed to do that and never will, in accordance to the basic doctrines of religious law. If His will would have been to change the nature of all the people whenever He wanted something from somebody, then it would have been pointless for Hashem to send prophets and promulgate the law. This explains what God told Eliyahu Hanavi when Hashem said that the divine is not in the fire, in the thunder, or in the loud noise, but rather in the thin, silent voice. Kol demama daka. For Rambam, it is contemplation of Hashem's creations rather than dramatic miracles that truly draws one close to God. The closer one is to Hashem, the more one enjoys Hashgacha, divine providence, which ultimately generates economic stability and provides for one's well-being. Recently, a beloved teacher of mine passed away. His name was Chacham Yosef Faur. and so I have been rereading his books, and I want to highlight a passage that I recently read that is relevant to our discussion. Only a mythological deity leaves traces of its presence. The God of Israel, even when performing the most astounding miracles, leaves no evidence of his presence. Referring to the splitting of the sea, the rabbis taught that the sea returned to its original condition, bearing no marks of God's intervention. The same is true of all other miracles. Concerning this fundamental principle, the psalmist sang, "Your path is in the sea, your trails are in the many waters, and your footprints cannot be known." I just read from Homo Mysticus, a guide to Maimonides' Guide to the Perplexed by Jose Faur. God leaves no impression of his miracles, and the miracles leave little impression on us. Our goal is to know Hashem through study, meditation, reflection, and contemplation. The strongest proof for Rambam's position is the Torah itself. The generation that experienced the great miracles in Egypt, the splitting of the sea, the revelation at Mount Sinai, is the same generation that bowed down to a golden calf and cried for meat in the desert and tested God numerous times. Miracles did not provide the resources necessary to internalize their faith, their emunah in Hashem. Their relationship with God was built on fleeting moments of great awe and drama. This is what Eliyahu experienced on Mount Carmel. The Jewish people that stood by and witnessed a great fire descend from heaven and consume Eliyahu's sacrifice, and in a moment of ecstasy declared, "Hashem hu ha-Elohim," were the same people who moments later wanted to arrest Eliyahu and murder him. I would argue that the fact that the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu did not merit to enter the land of Israel is proof enough that miracles just don't work. In summary, we have two schools of thought. One argues that miracles are wonderful and an important part of the religious experience. Rambam believes the highest form of religious experience is hard work, study, contemplation, and coming to a place within oneself that knows and loves Hashem. At that stage of religious development, miracles become irrelevant. Thank you for your attention, and Shabbat Shalom.